Afternoon. This is the meeting of the Preservation Board. I'd like to have you just for 1 second.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to call a roll to establish who is present. Commissioner Killeen, are you here?
Present.
Commissioner Byzantiner, are you here?
Present.
I am here. Have I overlooked a commissioner? I have not. Commissioners, has anyone read the minutes from the last meeting?
I move we approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are the minutes. Taking a look at the agenda, are there any changes or announcements? Commissioner Killeen?
Announcements, move we approve.
Second.
Any objections? This is our agenda.
And add a new member.
Agenda item A. Commissioner Killeen?
Request recusal on this one.
Okay, you are recused by record.
We have a
Call
new-
it. Oh,
I'm here.
we'll have to do this all over again.
No,
Okay.
just a roll call of my name.
Commissioner Wright, are you here?
Yes. I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay, calling agenda item A, 4749 Gravois. Commissioner Killeen is recused.
Good evening.
I hope not.
So I'm Dan Krasnoff, and I will be presenting the first item on the agenda tonight. This is a preliminary review proposal for the Bevo Mill City Landmark. The developer of the project is for an addition to the Bevo Mill City Landmark. The developer is 4947 Gravois LLC, Pat and Carol Schuchard, and the architectural office is Mike Killeen. The staff recommends approval for the following proposal. Here we see a picture of the Bevo Mill itself. I think everyone's pretty familiar with this building. Here we see a site plan. You can see where it says project site. In the cream colored area is where the addition to the building will take place. So this is the proposed site of the construction. You can see on the left is the sort of eastern end of the Bevo Mill building, and then the parking lot next to it where the beer garden will be constructed on the right. So again, we're looking on the left side is that original section of the Bevo Mill, and then you can see the sort of patio beer garden space to the right of that. Here's another angle of that, so there will be an entry off of Gravois. And then the main entrance into the enclosed space will be where you see the Das Bevo sign. Here's a view from the Morganford side of the site. It's triangular, so you've got a side on Morganford and a side on Gravois. And then this is a view sort of walking in from the Gravois side, an entry detail into the beer garden space. On the left-hand side of this drawing here is the original, the western end of the original, or the eastern end, I should say, of the original Bevo building. One thing that the staff has worked closely with the developer and architect on is the relationship between the historic structure and the addition on the right. So you can see the bar space that we're looking sort of directly into right in front of us here in this image. Is a very simple space that is the connector between the addition to the addition that is the beer garden building that's new and the historic building on the left. And I think this is probably the view that gives the best sort of understanding of the project. On the left-hand side, kind of in the white, is the historic Bevo building. On the right-hand side is the enclosed space. So the image on the left is the north wall of the Bevo Mill site. So that's, on the left is where the scaled, very scaled down simple addition will adjoin the new structure with the existing building. And then on the right-hand side, you can see the retaining wall that will be kept on the Morganford side, and then the beer garden will be kind of above this space. here on the left, you see kind of that same image. I think the right image here gives a better sense of that, that retaining wall that will be kept, and then the beer garden will be built on top of that. And then we're looking at the historic Bevo Mill building as we go sort of in a southwesterly direction down Morgan Ford. And again, just so we see the site plan, on the far right side of the site, we see the existing parking lot is retained for parking. Then to the left of that is the new beer garden space with the main pavilion. To the left of that is the small kind of slender bar space that will connect the two buildings. And to the left of that, where the streets of Gravois and Morgan Ford meet, is the historic Bevo Mill building in the diagonal lines. So this is a city landmark, and this city landmark, like most of our city landmarks, does not have design standards that are part of its creation. However, this development is almost exclusively what we're seeing tonight in addition to the building. So I think it's pretty easily understood that way. As I said, the developer and the staff have worked closely together, and everyone is in support of this project from both the staff side and the developer design team side. In terms of findings and conclusions, this is a city landmark. The beer garden is proposed that will occupy a portion of the parking lot. The revised plan has reduced the impact of the design on the historic structure, and is a very interesting and lively structure. I think will create a lot of excitement for this area of the Bevo neighborhood and the Bevo Mill itself. And so I ask that you grant preliminary approval and that final details and specifications be submitted to the Cultural Resources Office for final review and approval.
Questions for our staff? Aaron, questions? Questions for the developer or the architect?
No.
Questions for the developer or the architect?
No, I don't think so.
You have a motion?
Yes, I would like to move that the board grant preliminary approval to the proposed addition with the stipulation that details and specifications are submitted to the Cultural Resources Office for review and final plans, and exterior materials are approved by the Cultural Resources Office.
Second.
Discussion?
I think that this proposal is very well thought out, and I think it's going to be a great enhancement.
Now, they did not mention the part where they're actually going to be grinding stuff at the mill now?
Depends on what they're grinding.
Fantastic.
Anything? Okay. Commissioners, there's a motion on the floor that's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Shirley.
Thank you.
Okay. I need Dan, I think, for a second.
Yes, sir.
Could you pass that down?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think you guys do a good job.
I'm sorry.
Donna? Here.
Gentleman in the back.
I'm looking forward to giving you credit.
See? Here. Tom?
Sure.
Can you see if she found out anything
The
from
number
state?
that we're still waiting for Tony.
Karen, grab her before you lose her.
Tony?
No, I mean,
That's Carol Shugart.
I thought you had
that's
a
Meg
cell,
Wilson.
maybe you'd know his
Yeah, she works for
EPA.
yeah, I've seen her, but I
So we can't do anything?
Well, if he's on his way, it'd be nice.
We will either waive a quorum or we will wait for another commissioner. Dan is working on that now.
Oh, okay.
Is there another agenda? Is there a pile of them? Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Thank you. I was like, no, this one was approved. There's not another one.
That's why I didn't ask you to make the motion, because I knew you didn't have anything to read it from.
I appreciate that.
Richard
Yes, sir.
I think we're
had
good.
a 3D virtual reality presentation that could have killed a lot of time in here today. Next time
I know- I
I've
know.
got some filler for you.
I want them to think that hiring your work was so good that we didn't even have to think about it.
Okay. No way.
Okay,
Wave a corn, huh?
let's waive or wait. Dan, waive or wait? Waive. Okay, calling agenda item B, 4559 to 61 South Compton, Commissioners note, this is an appeal of a denial, and we are sitting to hear that appeal, and the appellant has waived the presence of a quorum.
Okay.
I'm Andrea Gagan from the Cultural Resources Office, and I swear to tell the truth.
Thank you.
This is a demolition application for a two-story commercial building at 4559 to 61 South Compton. And I need to enter into the record our enabling ordinance 64689 as amended by 64925, Preservation Review District Ordinance 64832, as well as the agenda and PowerPoint presentation. This is 4559 through 61 South Compton Avenue. It's located at the corner of South Compton and Mount Pleasant.
you.
It is not in a historic district, although it is in a very intact area. And it is located within a preservation review district. This is the rear elevation. As you can see, the upper, I guess, I don't think which side that is, has been damaged, and I'll show you a photo later of, well, that is why it was damaged. The large tree fell on the building, I believe, was it April, or earlier this year.
It had to be such an old tree. I'll have to bring it down.
This is a close-up of the damage. As you can see, most of the roof on that side and some of the wall was, the side wall, the corner side wall and the rear have been collapsed. This is just some additional shots of the parapet damage, which I'm not sure if that was related to this or if it was just something that happened previous to this. This is the Mount Pleasant side of the building. And just some context shots. As I said, the neighborhood is very intact. There's little demolition or vacancy. Just want to go through.
Is that called camouflage? I need one more agenda.
There is no redevelopment plan. About 4559 661 South Compton is a qualifying structure under the definition of the ordinance. And while it's not currently listed on the National Register of Historic Places, it is eligible to be listed. The building dates from around 1908 and retains its historic character. Minor alterations have been made to the storefronts. The facade features a shaped parapet and purple brick cornice. The building appears to, in general, be sound, obviously, except for the roof, rear wall, the north half of the building. Said it was condition was caused by the tree damage, and it was the basis for the building division's recent condemnation of the building. It is not a structurally attached group of buildings. The area around South Compton is well maintained, and the building is sound. And as I said, there are a few vacancies. The building is located on well-maintained block, and it has reasonable reuse potential. The applicant did submit his insurance information on the insurance money he received, which the settlement was $92,800, which he received $80,500 after the deductions, mainly, I believe, due to the tree removal and costs associated with that. The loss of the building would have a significant impact on the block front and would create an open corner at Mount Pleasant and South Compton Avenues. The current intersection is intact, and the loss of the building would have a considerable negative impact on the historic character of the intersection and the area as a whole. The other things aren't really applicable. It's a contributing resource to the Dutchtown neighborhood and is located, a qualified building located in a preservation review district. The building appears to be in sound condition, although there are roof and masonry issues caused by the tree, and there appears to be some maintenance issues related to the front parapet. I don't have, although the owner did say he did get a bid I'll let him speak to that because I don't have any information on that specifically. Right now, he is not proposing any construction on the site. I believe he's just wanting to get rid of the lot after demolition. I'm also going to submit some photos that he had sent to me. Some of them are interior shots and others exterior shots. Ordinance 64689 states that demolition of a merit qualifying structure shall not be approved except in unusual circumstances. We don't believe there's been any evidence as submitted to support such circumstances. So the Cultural Resources Office recommends that the preservation will hold the denial of the demolition application for 455961 South Compton.
Questions on this side? No. Questions on this side? You said he has received approximately $80,000 net.
Yeah.
What would it cost to stabilize the building?
That, I don't know, I believe I'm not sure what his bid covered, whether it was just for, or was it restoration of the whole building, or if it was just for, putting a new roof and stabilize, rebuilding that back portion. I'm assuming that was for making it livable again. I think his bid for that was like 147, I think he said. I'm not sure exactly how much it would be just to stabilize it. I mean, obviously it'd be less than that.
Great, thanks. Thank you very much. Okay, let's have the appellant.
Do I go there or here?
Here, it's one of your choice.
Hello there.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Tell us your name, please.
I'm Dr. David Hart.
Is your testimony going to be the truth?
Yes.
Where do you live?
I live at 2901 Iowa Avenue in St. Louis.
Okay, proceed, sir. Make your case.
So the building that you see right there, it looks good for all intents and purposes. On July 13th, a very serious storm came through and knocked the tree, it was an old oak tree in the backyard, down onto the building. I had earlier in the year had it spot tuck pointed. I'd had a new roof put on it. I'd had a lot of work done to it, so I had every intention of staying there. And I was only about $2,200 away from having the building paid off. When I bought it, it was a operational bar and lounge, and I don't know if you'd call it a restaurant. You could get happy hour food. And when I bought it, I converted it. I bought it in late '02, converted it over to offices, and turned it into a counseling center. So that was, of course, served the purpose of helping individuals, couples, families, and groups resolve mental health conflict, but also to contribute to community betterment. So I had every intention of staying in the building, as long as possible. Then on July 13th, the oak tree came in. What you can't see in any of the pictures is the damage that's been done to the entire building. It was an old 100-year-old, 80-foot oak tree that came from the west to the east. So you're looking at the east side of the building right there. And when the tree was laying on the building, still tree, all the branches intact, before I'd had it cut up and removed. I don't know if I submitted any of those pictures or not. I certainly can because I have those. The building was back there between those two buildings that you see. That's the west side of the building. And you can't see the trunk of the tree, but it's actually still there. When the tree fell, it shifted the entire building from west to east. So when you were standing right there on the corner, you look down at the bottom right of that picture, that's actually at the northwest corner of Compton and Mount Pleasant. If you stood on the sidewalk there looking north in the front of the building, you could see the street level, but if you looked up to the top of the building, it was projected out. The building itself was projected out about 7 inches. It stayed that way until the tree came off, and then it went back in, but now it's even further in than it was. And so there's been some movement in a building that was built at the turn of the century that has jeopardized the entire thing. I'm not an architect or, an engineer, but it would seem to me that that's permanent damage that has jeopardized the security of the building. Regardless of the decision that comes from this, I will never practice out of that building again because it's unsafe. Every time I go in, there's something else that's fallen. There's a piece of brick that's come loose. You can see the damage up there. That's the northwest corner of the building where the tree landed. It also, it went all the way across the building, and you could see it laying across out into the street on Compton right there. And of course, you can't see that now. Those 2 north offices of the building are completely destroyed. Destroyed. The other one behind there, you can't see that one, but branches came through there. I did as the insurance agency asked me to, and they said I had to do 2 things: get the tree removed, and then I also had to secure the building so that no more damage could occur as a result of weather. Woodard came out. There were 3 of them. They got back in the backyard, and they refused to go up there because they said the building was too unsound. When the fire department came out that afternoon, they taped it off and said that it was unsound and I wasn't supposed to go back in there, although I did because I've got thousands of dollars of books and degrees and so on. Every time I go in there, I realize I'm taking my life into my own hands. So those 2 offices right there that you can see are completely destroyed because now everything in there is molded. Everything is compromised, including the interior, the exterior, the brick, the masonry, the structure. The 4 offices on the right side are not nearly as bad, although there's mold throughout it as well. If you look at the top right of that building, that's actually the southwest corner of the building. It's also compromised. There are cracks and tears in there that $147,000, as the bid says, will never be able to correct. I reported the building. I got a notice of condemnation from the city. I have that here for you. Did what they told me to do. They said that I told them I wanted to demolish the building because it is not and will not be intact again unless it's taken out and rebuilt. It is that jeopardized. They told me that I had to contact Liquid Gas and Ameren UE and have the services terminated, which doesn't mean discontinued, I guess. That means come in and go into the streets and drill and take services out. So Ameren UE charged me $750 to do that, to prepare for the demolition. Liquid Gas didn't charge anything. The man who is taking down the building, Charles Jones, I have his bid. He said that he was contacting water and sewer to have those services terminated, and he's done that, so the building is just a shell right now. I don't really know what else I can say. Those pictures just don't accurately depict the damage that's been done to the building. You almost have to go into it and take a look at it. It's completely molded. And again, like I said, regardless of the decision, I won't practice in it if I'm required to come up sure that it's repaired. Like you said, the building, the bid to replace it was $147,000, I think, and that's a very modest, conservative estimate because before that, all the settling and continuing debris falling hadn't happened. The mold hadn't happened. I had an actual cash value policy on it. There was $93,500, $93,800 after the tree came off, and I had to pay for that. I received $80,500. So the difference between $147,000 and $80,500, so I mean, we're talking a significant amount of money. I don't know where that would come from in order to repair it. I guess that's about all I have.
Commissioners on this side, questions?
You have a report, Dr. Hart, from a structural engineer speaking to the soundness of the structure?
I submitted about a 24, 28-page,
Insurance report?
is that from Billy Burke?
This is from American Family Insurance.
No, I submitted something from Billy Burke. He was the contractor who came out and did all the estimates, and I've sent that to.
I just printed out.
Okay. If I have not presented that, then I certainly can.
And so just to be clear, this building has been condemned by the city of St. Louis?
And I have a copy of that as well.
Notice? Let me see that.
I have a condemnation notice.
Do you have it with you? Give it to Adana. It starts down the way with Adana.
That is a condemnation for occupancy. Yep. Give me just a minute to look at this. Okay, gas abandonment. Demo bid. Nope. Demo. It is. Because it's probably some.
Do you see these?
I'll give this back to you. I just want to get the page.
Okay, we're sorting through your documents there.
Okay.
Do we have a copy of the $147,000 bid to stabilize the building? Is that-
Yes.
Okay.
It passed you
Okay.
this way. We'll get it to come back this way. That was, I think it was actually
First.
rehab it, but
Okay.
Just for the record, I don't know how 147,000 could ever repair that building. There's damage done that these pictures just simply do not show.
So from what I can see here, so you got the city telling you you're condemned to structural issues. But Cultural Resources is saying under the, their ordinance, the building appears to be in sound condition. So that's really what we're here to talk about, the difference between those two opinions. a structural engineer could fill that gap. So if you were to hire a structural engineer who could walk out and make a report, and an official report that was presented to us saying this thing's got to come down, it's really a mess. You know, and he would actually get quantified evidence in there, you know, backing that up. And I think, you know, it's tough for us to argue that. But under a strict reading of this ordinance, we've seen much worse than that come up on our screen get saved. So, but I hear what you're saying. Bricks are falling every day, so maybe a structural engineer can help you there. So, you know, your paperwork back here. And I'll give you yours.
Your questions for the appellant? Dave?
Yeah. What did you intend to do with the property once demolition's complete?
So I called Habitat for Humanity and asked to donate it to them, and they said that because of LRA stipulations that there's funding not available for Habitat for Humanity to take it over, so they said no. I'm fully prepared to, well, first of all, Mr. Jones is the person who's prepared to take it down. He said that when it was finished, it would be a clean space, clean lot. He said that 10% of the building can go into the ground and the rest would have to be taken away. When it was finished, it would be cleaned and grass planted. I also was going to go to the city, and I say this casually because I don't know the process, donate it to the city for some sort of a community garden. But in the meantime, I'm certainly prepared to upkeep that piece of land and turn it into, again, a community garden of sorts, be it vegetables or flowers or whatever could, again, continue to contribute to community betterment. So I'll certainly maintain it.
Dr. Hart, did you take your documents back?
I beg your pardon?
You just come back and take your documents?
Didn't you tell me to?
I didn't know. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I said here are your documents.
We have them back, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks. These are now in evidence.
Oh, I misunderstood. Yep. Send these back down.
I was under the impression that an engineer had come out because the first person to come and take a look at the building was a Kyle Yemenitz from United Services Disaster Restoration. He couldn't make a decision to the structural integrity of the building, so he called out someone from PT&C LWG, and I thought they did an assessment. And I thought there was an engineer, and I thought the reason that the engineer was called out was because they couldn't arrive at a decision on their own, and so the engineer was going to have to make the decision as to whether or not it was salvageable. And so I had to do that in order to get the insurance to pay out on it. And so I think one of the two who came out and looked at it was the one who said that it was structurally unsound, but I can certainly contact them and get that report. And then finally, American Family came in, and Billy Burke is a commercial farm ranch claim large loss adjuster, and he's the one who provided the 24-page report that you have there. I think an engineer has already been out, and I can locate those reports.
And I don't know if there's a market, but have you offered this building for sale?
I'm sorry?
Have you offered this building for sale, or you want to hold on to the property yourself?
For sale like that?
I don't know.
Didn't cross my mind.
Never know.
Never know.
It comes with $80,000.
If it came with $80,000, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. No more questions.
Are you okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well,
We're going to discuss it now.
so I stay, I'm
you
supposed
can
to remain
sit.
present?
Do you have anything else to add in your deal?
Again, just, it looks far worse than you can see.
Okay.
Pictures are not going to do that property justice.
Ms. Gagan, anything to add? Mr. Byzantino, this seems to be right up your alley. You have a motion to make on this? Remembering our ordinance, and remembering the evidence.
Yes. I move that the board uphold the director's denial of the permit demolition application, and that appropriate steps be taken to stabilize the building.
Is there a second to Commissioner Vicentenor's motion?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Commissioner Vicentenor? An
Um,
engineer.
Yeah, without really doing a thorough inspection, just looking at the pictures, it's really hard to say, but we've seen buildings that appear to be in far worse condition than this, that were salvageable. And I think this would be a major loss to the streetscape were it not. So it has some major issues, but based on what we've seen, it appears like it would still be salvageable.
Aaron, you've got a lot of documents over there. Something to add to the discussion?
I agree with the comments already made. I think, if a structural engineer could file a report, that would make a big difference in,
So if we, I'm sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
go ahead.
If we approve David's motion here, there's no appeal, right?
There's always an appeal.
That he can appeal?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 'Cause I was going to suggest that, had you asked me to make the motion, I would have moved that we delay action on this for a month so we can go get a structural engineer's report.
This is one of those ones where we have a clock, though.
Is the clock about to run out?
Do we know what the clock is on this one? There's an appeal.
Yeah, I guess it depends if it was, he just appealed it, so, might be
Anything to add? Okay, Commissioners, there is a motion on the floor that has been made and seconded. The motion is to uphold the director's denial. I'm going to call a roll. Commissioner Wright, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Vicentenor, do you vote yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, do you vote yes or no?
No.
Commissioner Robinson, do you vote yes or no?
No.
That's 2-2. I vote yes, I uphold the director's denial. Thank you.
Can you tell me about the appeal process?
The staff,
I'm sorry?
The staff will tell you.
the folks over here.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. I know, I've done it enough. Calling by the way, I note reluctantly the presence of Commissioner Robinson,
Oh, and that there was a quorum present for,
and there was a quorum present during this discussion. Agenda item C, 5344 Cabanne.
Okay, Bob Bettis with staff. I will tell the truth. I need to enter in ordinances 64689 as modified by 64925. Also ordinance 60942, which is the Viz Park ordinance. My presentation, my PowerPoint. All set? Okay, before you is an appeal of the director's denial to retain 2 retaining walls installed without a permit. Got a complaint, these were put up without a permit, went out, saw they were installed, called the owner, Merle Williams, who we've worked with before on several projects, and he was surprised that there was not a permit pulled. In the past, he has pulled permits for doing window work on the porches, handrails, other things, so it was a surprise to him that they had not got a permit to do the work. So that's kind of where we're at. So explained the situation, he had to deny the permit because it didn't meet the standards, so he appealed to the board. So I'll go through this real quickly, and then we'll go through some background info. You see this block of Cabanne is pretty bombed out, unfortunately. There's very little historic context left. There's a few houses on the south side of the street. This is looking west from the site. It's looking east. So on that south side of the block, there's only a few houses left. On the north side, there's some new construction, empty lots, and several houses that are in really poor shape. Now the ordinance, this is before the walls were installed. This is from Google Earth. Ordinance says that if you're going to do a retaining wall, it needs to be natural stone, brick, or brick-faced concrete block. So this, what was installed does not comply with the standards. However, given the owner's past of getting the right kind of permits and also the context of the block, we're recommending that you overturn a denial, actually. Again, the block is pretty much, there's just not much left. Again, the owner's done the right thing in the past. We don't believe it was his fault that it was built. We feel that we'd like you to do an overturn of our denial. Questions? And when given, the nature of these things with retaining walls, we thought it best that the board make that call instead of us just approving it. Since you see some retaining walls before you, we felt it best that the board make the approval.
So, just for clarification, is your argument that because of the diminished context of the construction, we should overturn the denial? Or is it that the guy's a really good guy and we should overturn the denial?
It's a combination of both things. Again, in the past, he has done the right thing. We've worked with him on getting permits for other things, his windows, the porch, the handrail. He was left with this by the contractor. He had to hire somebody else to finish the job for him. He was left high and dry actually halfway through the build. He could tell you more about that. Given that and also the context, we feel that this is not going to be a detriment to the block given the condition that it's in right now.
I have a great deal of trouble with the first argument.
Sure.
I mean, almost everybody who comes before us is a good guy trying to invest in the city. And I'd be very reluctant to make any kind of decision one way or the other based upon that. But the argument about the context is, I think, well made. Commissioners on this side?
Well, the context issue, though, I mean, a group of neighbors must have gotten together at some point and wrote some historic standards, right?
Yes, sir.
So, did they want this type of wall in their neighborhood? And, we got to think about the future. The city's coming back. Will that neighborhood be rebuilt? And we've made this exception, How strong is the neighborhood? Over there?
Unfortunately, it's not super strong. I mean, we get so few permits for Viz Park these days. I would say under 10, if that, each year. On Windermere, the block to the south, which is a lot stronger, has an intact context to it. I would see more down there. But on Cabanne itself, I mean, 1 or 2 a year. We don't have any kind of correspondence from any neighbor association. No one's reached out to us. We put this out there every month, and we've heard nothing back.
Is there a neighborhood association up there?
If there is, we haven't heard from anybody.
Okay.
So we've had no citizen input or feedback on this particular deal?
Sad. Okay.
Even though there's only one person in the room, I thought I would go and see if there was anybody else signed up. Thank you very much. Sorry. It's okay. Okay, let's hear from the appellant. Thank you very much for your patience.
No problem.
Tell us your name, please.
Jamel Williams.
Is your testimony going to be the truth?
Oh, of course.
And
The
what,
only way I know how to take care of business.
and what is your address?
5344 Cabanne.
Okay. What is your appeal?
All right, so I bought the home last year around like November, and I've been doing like construction work ever since then with like all sorts of contractors. They pulled a permit for the support beams in the basement. The inspector came out, made sure everything was right. It was approved. They pulled the permit for my balcony and my deck that I have in the back. The inspector came out. It was approved. They pulled like these, like all different contractors. They pulled a permit for my fence. It was approved. If you look on that front picture, that's new concrete from my front door all the way to the sidewalk. That was approved through like permits. Like you said, windows, everything else was approved. And every contractor I work with, they had in a contract that they are reliable for pulling permits. So I got this contractor with the retaining wall. In his contract, it says he pulled permits. And I was actually out of town, and I came back and they told me that they stopped the work, but it was after that because I thought that the dude was messing up on my wall. So I just had, now this before I knew that he didn't have a permit. So I had him stop the work on my wall, and I brought in another contractor. The contractor said that once he, like, you know, because the first guy already had like a roll of bricks. He was like, once he just build up or whatever, build a wall, he'd just go downtown and, like, I guess swap names or whatever on the permit that was already standing. I don't know how it go, but when he got down, when he came downtown to switch over his names on the permits, that's when the office let him know that I didn't have a permit. It wasn't no permit for the wall. So it was already up at that point with like the flower pots and everything. It's only 3 houses on my side of the block. The one right there that you can see in the picture is actually a vacant building, been vacant for 6 years. Like, I'm trying to fix the community. I try to do it the right way. I mean, everybody else I work with, you know, get permits, but I talked to my contractor. He was telling me that, you know, it'll cost so much money to take what we already have down and then to rebuild, and I can't afford it. That's the truth. True story.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about it would be expensive to take down and rebuild, and I can't afford it. Details.
I can't afford it is I have no more cash. That's pretty simple. The take down and rebuild, he wrote up a report. I didn't bring it with me, but I could get it. But he wrote up a report on how much it cost because they charge by like I think the per brick square per block. I don't know, but he wrote up how much it'd take to actually demolish it, plus the material to, you know, put everything back, because the brick he'd used was the brick that the first contractor had ordered. So I thought that was the brick, you know, that I could actually have on my property. So pretty much what he did was he had just used the materials that was already there. That's why you still see that large rock mound in my driveway. Like, he didn't know what he was doing. So, but I can get numbers as far as like.
Remember what the number was approximately?
Nah, I can't just make up a number. I wouldn't want to just make
You
up
may
one.
be the first person who's ever testified that.
No, I mean, because if I'm going on record, I don't want to make up a number and then I come in
No,
and
you're
it's
great.
like, yeah, no, I can't say right now. But I know I can't afford it, even if it's $5,000. I did a lot of work to that house.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I hope you guys like my property.
Your
I put a
house
lot
is
of
beautiful.
Thank you.
Your
I
house
put a
is
lot of work
absolutely
into it. But yeah, that was pretty much it.
If that were all we were voting on, you'd get an unusual.
I have a couple of technical questions. You know if he put drain lines behind that?
Yeah, you can actually see. Well, you can't see it right. Yeah. Can you see that little circle? Like right. Yeah. Can you see it? It has the drainage in it, and it's on both sides as well.
Were you keeping an eye on this guy? I mean, did it go up structurally properly for a retaining wall?
So what, the one who done it now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I watched them. Yeah, everything. Even when what happened was the inspector had came out. I pretty much know the inspector now because he been by my house so many times for the past year. And he even said that everything was built right and everything, but it wasn't on record. But yeah, he got the little black pins. Everything is leveled. It's plumbed. It goes back. Every layer goes back a certain amount. Yeah, like the glue is on the caps. It's not going anywhere, but unless I'm forced to take it down, then it's going somewhere. But
Mr. Chairman, my questions here have to do with if we approve this as presented, well, that's one thing. We got through cultural resources. Now, he has to go back to the permit office and get a permit from them, or how does it work?
I think he's
He's applying for the permit for this.
He
So
has.
that's what the appeal is this. So
Got it.
yeah, he's got one. The drawings are correct,
Okay,
and it's a sound build. It's got all the drain lines to it. So
understood. Okay, thank you.
Anything? Okay. You have a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion that the Preservation Board overturn the director's denial of the permit due to context issues on the block. The contractor's failure to secure a permit without the owner's knowledge. I think that the context issue is a viable argument. It's nice to see somebody renovating a house like this on a block that only has a few houses left, instead of having to demolish the last three there.
It's only 3 homes on mine. That whole side of my block, them the only 3 homes, and one of the 3 is actually vacant. And across the street, it's like a big abandoned castle that's been vacant for years, you know, like people up the street who like just sit at the park and drink all day, they go into this building and the castle, they just stay there, and I done called the police. So like, I'm just trying to give all the children in my neighborhood who walk to that school on Union something to look at. You know, like, if I gotta take it down, I don't have no choice, but
That's Horace Ivory Park right there. That's Ivory Park. No, the park is Ivory Park.
is it Vegetation Park?
Vegetation.
Vegetation? I think it is called, I think it is called like Ivory, something
Okay.
like that.
Well, I support the motion, except I would like to have the reference to the contractor's failure to secure a permit withdrawn, because we got a lot of people coming in with windows that contractors have installed illegally, et cetera, and I would hate to see this come out as a precedent.
Take those 12 words off in exchange for his vote.
Yes.
Who's the
Who
second?
made the second?
I did.
Do you agree? Okay.
All right, so.
So the motion has been amended, but it's still on the floor, remade and reseconded.
Right.
Commissioner?
I have no comments.
Okay. Anybody? Anybody else? Commissioners, motion made and seconded. It would overturn the director's denial due to context issues on the block. I will call a roll. Commissioner Robinson, yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Killeen, yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Vizentainer, yes or no?
Yes.
Commissioner Wright, yes or no?
Yes.
That is 4 yeses. The motion carries. The director's denial is overturned.
So what does that mean? I'm good?
What's that?
That's like, I'm okay? I don't have to knock it down?
That's it? You're okay?
Okay. Thank you so much. So now I have a question. So like, if people do, like, hopefully, because I think if someone open up that capsule, I think more developers will come in. So if people do start building, does that retaining wall change the precedence, like, of that neighborhood? I probably should never ask that question, huh? All right, I'm just walking away.
Wait a minute. Go back now. No, you're fine. Okay, Commissioner, hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Hearing no objection, we stand adjourned. Happy holidays, Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like this?